security evolution is tied to how the human evolutions are, and any new thing that is introduced into the cyber security is always been part of our human evolution chains as well. Whatever concepts that you see today, be it pen testing or threat intelligence or SOC or deception, are there since age long. In a war, ancient wars also, there was a concept of threat intel, right? There was a concept of deception, Trojan horse, we keep hearing, right? Or in the modern era of paramilitary, you will see these concepts are already applied in the physical space, right? In cyberspace, we are reintroducing those concepts day by day. Eventually, all the strategies that
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. Welcome aboard to Hacker Hub podcast, where we are on a mission to make cybersecurity learning easy with a blend of experience. You are listening to Cybersecurity Beyond Penetration Testing, Episode 4, featuring Avkash Kathiriya. I'm Yash Gorsia, your host and captain, and with me is Anugrah SR, co host and captain for today's episode. Today, we are joined by an experienced cybersecurity professional who has spent over 13 years working in information security, product management, and business strategy. He leads key initiative at CyWare Labs, focusing on product management, security research, and security solutions. Throughout his career, he has tackled a wide range of projects from cyber fusion and threat intelligence to incident response and red team operations. He is not just about keeping systems safe, but also about shaping the future of cybersecurity products, ensuring they meet customer needs and deliver long term value. Beyond his day to day work, he is an active speaker at industry conferences and provides strategic guidance to security startups. We are excited to have him share his insights with us today. Thank you, sir, for joining us and sharing your valuable insights for episode 4 of Cybersecurity Beyond Pen Testing.
Thank you so much, Yash and Anugrah, for having me here. I'm feeling privileged to be here and sharing my whatever knowledge I carry from my years of experience. Thank you. Looking forward for our discussions today.
So, thank you, sir, again. And, we start our discussion with very topic related question. What segment we called is cybersecurity beyond pen testing. So, what is your understanding? You have spent over a decade into the industry. So, what is your understanding when we say cybersecurity beyond pen testing?
I'm glad that you have the title there, cybersecurity beyond pen testing, and it's always close to my heart. Whenever I meet any freshers or anyone from the industry, I try to explain that cybersecurity is not just vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. It's a whole gambit of multiple layers and defending your DAN out there. And pen testing is one of the tool into the security person's hand, but it goes very much beyond and very much deep. And the sad reality also, when I talk to many college freshers, the only thing known to them in cybersecurity is penetration testing, and it's a valid point because the most populist thing among the college students that I see is the bug bounty programs, and we should give the credit to those programs because of those programs, VAPT is very popular amongst the youngsters. But I think we, as an industry, we need to still put lot many efforts to make popular the defensive side of the cybersecurity as well, as I call it, because offensive has gained its popularity, but nobody wants to do the dirty work, right? Nobody wants to get their hands dirty, being on the ground and trying to defend the enterprise every single day, every single moment, right? And it requires so much consistency. It requires so much persistence to do the same thing every day, uh, you will be getting attacked every day by so many unknown attackers from the dark, and still you need to defend your den, right? And that's what interesting, that's what fascinating. And I come from a pure computer background, and hardware was always very close to my heart. And that's where, when I switched into the cybersecurity first time, my introduction was always close to, digging out the logs, identifying the bad traffic patterns into the networking logs, or from an operating system logs. That's how I started. And I have been into the SOC side of the world, managing, running, even writing the correlation rules to identify the patterns out of the logs, doing incident response, forensics, even malware analysis. Comes the latest threat intel analysis, and now building the product on this side. So the defensive side world is very vast. People think that, hey, it's just a SOC and 24/7 SOC, L1, L2, L3. That's where it starts, but that's where not it ends. Right? The world go beyond deep, and there are many career opportunities as well for everybody out there. And that's why it needs to be discussed, it needs to be talked. What all aspects of cybersecurity can it be covered, not just pen testing, but defensive side as well, and also the governance, risk, compliance side as well. That's also one other aspect which
Mhm.
cannot be overlooked in this cybersecurity.
So it definitely needs to be discussed, and that's where the idea of starting this particular segment came in, because we particularly me is recently graduated from college. So I graduated last year. So for me to see people around me just wanting to get into cybersecurity as a security analyst was the point where I thought, okay, no, we need to raise an awareness, talk about other aspects of cybersecurity, because there is this security roles tree floating around, which has n number of roles available, wherein we just focus on a smaller part of it called penetration testing, security analyst, or anything. So we still have people think we need to get into cybersecurity. But when you started back, a decade back, so how you started, what was your motivation to start into cybersecurity, and how were the resources available? Because if we see today, there are lots of resources available.
Yeah. So I can go back in time. It's definitely a nostalgic. So I'll tell you, when straight out of my college, obviously this was time 2008 9. I'm talking when the recession was very high in the industry, and forget jobs. Right, there was nothing called campus jobs those days. At least not in my college or the university where I studied. And that's where the reality hits after you complete your engineering. And but one thing was very clear, that whatever I will do, I want to get into the hardware and networking side of the world, while all of my colleagues out there pursuing the software, which was very fascinating, and the jobs were also available. But I was very clear, I knew software development, I knew coding, but I wanted to go deep inside the networking and hardware, and that's where I got my first job as a desktop support engineer. I started my career, getting opening the desktop, motherboard, RAM. Those days, Cat5 cables was there, so doing the crimping. That's where I started, and slowly moved into the system administration side on the Windows Server 2000 2003 deployment configuration those days. Then went into an Active Directory side, so full flight system administration, and then put my hands onto the network side, pure networking, routing and switching into the data center. That's what I was doing initial in my career. And one day, when I was going out of the office, somebody handed over some course brochure in my hand, which says information security, and that was just right beside my office, that institute was getting started. And I never heard of information security in my life. All I knew was networking and maybe a network security. The only concept of security for me was firewalls and antivirus, because I was a system admin. I used to install antivirus on everybody's laptop, desktop, and I used to manage firewalls to safeguard the network. So those were my understanding of security. I signed up for this course. There is an interesting person I met. He's still very good name into the cyber security, but he was a very young kid those days. His name is Dhruv Shah. Many people will know. I met Dhruv. He was a teacher, teaching in one underground cafe out there, and I got to know about cyber security. And I was not sure whether I will. There is a job market, because there was no industry called information security those days, and idea was to learn. For me it was very simple: show up every day, try to learn new things. Though I started as a desktop engineer, I elevated as a system admin or a network admin, all because of one thing, which is I wanted to learn. Is as simple as that. And information security was that introduction. I wanted to learn some new thing, that how these things work. And luckily, I got one interview call after that. It was from Symantec, and they were doing their first implementation of SIM solution in India. And obviously, SIM was very new. It was first time getting deployed, and they are not going to get any resources who know SIM. They wanted somebody who understands the logs of systems, application, databases, networks, routers, switches, because these are the technology get integrated into SIM. And that's why I landed my that job, because I was able to clear that from my system and network background. I have a pretty good understanding of the logs those days. And obviously that's what my first interaction of the cyber security. I entered into then SIM administration, and then SOC analyst, and L1 and L2 started analyzing the incidents. Then went into an incident response side. I went into a policy management ISO certification side as well. So that was my first interaction into a SOC, but always a fascination into knowing the systems and network, very well. I always have the curiosity that how these things work. And when I entered into a cybersecurity, things were pretty easy, because I knew the basics, right? How the OSI layer works. If somebody is trying to attack at an application layer, what impact it will have at the network layer. What traces to find at the operating system logs versus at the firewall logs was pretty easy, in that journey. And when I also hire anybody today, or meet the freshers, I say that make your foundations very clear, right? I know you will have the temptation to run all the fancy tools out there, and do everything fancy out there, but make sure your foundations are super clear. Because once you know the basics, that how the applications works, how the systems work, how the networks work, getting into the security side becomes much more easy, and you will start enjoying the journey. Otherwise everything is difficult, right? Even if you are doing a bug bounty, but if you don't know how the applications are developed, deployed, and operated, finding the bugs into the ecosystem is always difficult, because what you are trying to do is the top notch thing, trying to find the security bug without understanding the underlying ecosystem. And that's where, when you are trying to defend the systems also, you should know the basics, that how your network is architected today, where your crown jewels are, which is you are trying to defend today, and what is your prevention mechanism and the detection mechanisms are in place before you start responding to a cyber attack also. And one concept I explain any non-cyber folks who I interact or I onboard into my team or in our organization. I tell that cybersecurity evolution is tied to how the human evolutions are, and any new thing that is introduced into the cybersecurity is always been part of our human evolution chains as well. Whatever concepts that you see today, be it pen testing or threat intelligence or SOC or deception, are there since age long. In a war, ancient wars also, there was a concept of threat intel, right? There was a concept of deception, Trojan horse, we keep hearing, right? Or in the modern era of paramilitary, you will see these concepts are already applied in the physical space, right? In cyberspace, we are reintroducing those concepts day by day. Eventually, all the strategy that you will see, the evolution that you will see, has happened somewhere before, and it's our human nature. I keep giving this example, to the layman people, saying that, hey, if I give you a jewelry and a cash in your hand, and I tell you that there is a risk somebody stealing it from you, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? And the immediate answer that I hear from the people is, I will put it into a locker, either in my house or in my bank locker, right? And that's exactly
Uh,
happens in cybersecurity. The first control that come to your mind is more preventive in nature. That means your crown jewels, you want to prevent from bad guys accessing it, right? And that happens with your data. If you have that data which is your crown jewel, and if I tell you that somebody can steal that data, the first thing that you will try to do is prevent the data theft, right? So all the technology evolution that happened in cybersecurity industry in earlier era is also those preventive technologies like firewall. The nature of firewall is to prevent the unauthorized network access. Antivirus, the job of the antivirus is to prevent the unauthorized execution of malicious file into your laptop, desktop, mobile, right? So the whole technology evolution in early era, firewall, antivirus, IPS, was all preventive in nature, right? And that's where we went into a further next era called detection, where we realize that attackers are going to bypass this technology no matter how smart firewalls are, antivirus are, IPSs are. uh, they are going to find a way because they are also smart. If you think you are a technocrat and you are smart enough to build the firewalls and antivirus, they already know how to bypass the firewalls and antiviruses that you have developed. So that's where the second era came. We started developing technologies to detect the attack. Similar example of physical world, the CCTV cameras, right? Though you put lockers and jewelry into the lock and key, but that does not give you a guarantee that nobody can rob your house, right? You still wanted something called CCTV cameras, and that's exactly happened in cybersecurity. We saw the technologies like SIEM, NBAD, even EDRs in today's world, I would say some flavor of detection, UEBA, NBAD. So many technologies which came into this era were focusing on the detection of an attacker, even if you have the preventive controls. And the third era in last few years we saw, which picked up, was the response, right? Because once you know that somebody in your house trying to break in your house, even you have the lock and key, your locker, CCTV camera will tell you that somebody at your house trying to break. It is not going to stop the the theft which is happening. That's exactly happen. SIM will tell you that something is bad. Somebody is trying to enter into your network, right? Somebody already has access to your applications and database. It will not stop. You need a response mechanism to stop the attack, and that's where the respond operations started. And we saw SOC, but bug does not stop at the SOC. We started realizing the value of incident response team. The team who will come will respond to a cyber attack. Hey, block this IP on firewall, let's block this machine, quarantine this machine, inform this user, take down this application. So the response is required to counter the attack. And that's where in physical world also, either you will call the security guy, hey, somebody is trying to enter, can you go and stop that guy? If you don't have a security, maybe call police saying that I need some help. So you need to invoke some kind of response as well. The good part is now a lot many technology evolution is happening, and we see the technologies like SOAR coming in this space, which are automated and orchestration response, which is again an automation. What we are trying to do, what we were doing it manually, we are now having the tool to automate the response. And while we are talking about prevention, detection, and response, we also felt one more thing which happened parallelly was the prediction, right? Everybody loves prediction, even in the physical space. In the ancient age era, also, the kings used to have their khabris, right? In Hindi, we call the Khufia Jasus. So why we need those? Because of our intel. We wanted a wartime intel saying that, hey, which state and which kingdom is planning what type of attack. Even in today's era, we have the agencies like RAW and NSAs of the world who keeps an eye of the threats which are external to the country, internal to the country, and they keep curating those intelligence. And that's the prediction world, which we saw in cybersecurity as well, where, hey, we need cybersecurity also to be more predictive. Can somebody tell me well in advance that these are the malwares which are getting popular in targeting the banks? These are the malwares which are targeting, the SCADA systems or the nuclear systems. So we need intelligence in cyberspace as well. Uh, I know I took a very long approach telling my journey and cybersecurity evolutions as well, but it's very important for everybody who is trying to enter to look at the things with the broader picture, that how the cybersecurity has evolved and will continue to evolve. and always take a bug from parallels, drawing parallels to our physical world or the ancient era of the war that we have seen. And concepts are not new, the jargons are new, the strategy always were those which were applied before. We are just trying to refine and applying into the cyberspace as well now.
Such an inspiring journey you have. So, as you mentioned, like hardworking, having a curious mind, and the continuous learning. I think like that summarizes like cybersecurity itself. So, a person who is like graduated or coming out of college, like what all like areas or like job you would like recommend in this current scenario? As we have technologies like latest technologies that came up, like there was cloud, Web3, then we had like the huge demand for threat intel, and now we have like AI coming into the picture, having like Gen AI like advisory for that also. What all like areas like a person can venture into in cybersecurity, and like do you think like there is a like a gatekeeping somewhere for these job roles also?
Very good question, Nubra. Because this is the question which I keep receiving when I talk to many of the freshers. In my free time, I try to spend my most of my time with the freshers, the fresh brains, because I also get to learn a lot from there. So I try to spend the time with them, and I give them only one thing. I tell them it's simple. There are two ways to look at this decision making when you start your career. Number one is more forward looking market, where the market is heading. That should be always looked up, saying that, hey, let's say you at least are very clear that you want to enter into cybersecurity, so there is no doubt. But in cybersecurity also, what will prevail down the line 5 years or 10 year, what will be the demand of something in 5 year, 10 year? That's one aspect you keep in mind. Like you said, there are lot many flashy and curious job roles out there today, but are they going to be relevant down the line 5 year or 10 year? That's one important question we should ask ourselves. But the second most important question, I ask them is, what is that interests you, what is that inspires you? That's the most important question, and people forget that. Because, just taking my example from my own experience, right? If when I started my career, I think software development was that diamond out there in the market. If you go back 12 years, 13 years back, and I'm not saying it's not there today, it's still there today. But it's also very important that, do I enjoy writing the piece of code or software development? Or at that time I figured out that, hey, hardware networking is more my passion. I love doing this. No matter what, I will do something in this field, right? I was very confident because I enjoy. Today also, after 13, 14 years, if somebody wakes me up, asks me about networking, I'll jump into it. I want to read more about it, I want to know more about it, I want to work on it, right? So that is also very more important for anybody who is starting their career, to identify what is your passion, what is that you enjoy. And I tell it that, hey, divide your skills into multiple buckets and see that, do you enjoy writing a code, right? If answer comes yes, there are multiple job roles in cybersecurity which still can align. For example, in offensive side also, there are good red teamers I know who can write very well code as well. So if your passion is writing the code, if you enjoy, and if you want to enter into cybersecurity, one of the example is maybe pursue vulnerability assessment or offensive side of the security, right? But if, let's say, you enjoy learning networking sides or system side more, right, maybe try to pursue into defensive side. And again, this is my perception, very high level I'm putting it. Maybe right, maybe wrong for somebody. You are the best person to judge yourself. But my understanding high level is I start putting things into this two bucket. And then I'll say, okay, now let's say on defensive side, I'm the person who likes systems and network also very well. There are multiple doors which will open. For example, cloud security, a perfect thing for somebody who loves systems very well, to enter into that side, because it's an infrastructure space, right? If you enjoy infrastructures, if you love building the infrastructures, go in that side. Because if you know how to build cloud, or how the cloud works in an underlying ecosystem, you will enjoy the cloud security very well. Or maybe you enjoy the mix of both, the operating systems, the network, and the logs, everything. Maybe go into the SOC and incident response or forensic side of the world, because you are going to go very minute details of the logs of the infrastructure combined together, right? And you might enjoy it more, and you might go deep down into those side as well. I know many good blue teamers, who are really good into the operating system or the infrastructure side, and they are really really good blue teamers, into the industry today, because they are very good in forensics, the Windows side of it, Mac side of it, Linux side of it, or the malware side of the forensic. So they are really good hands on those sides as well. And when it comes to a threat intel and the new things, I say that hold your horses, don't jump into the threat intel. If you get an opportunity, very well, grab the opportunity. But if you're not getting an opportunity, start with the basics, right? Everything will come handy. Start with the SOC, incident response, forensics, malware analysis base. Build your base very well, and then maybe down the line some opportunities are always waiting for you. You can always jump onto the threat intel side of the world as well. So never underestimate yourself. Whatever you get to learn today, i think um, I think two things: do you really enjoy it? If answer is yes, keep doing it. And are you learning new things every day, right? That's very important. I feel I meet many freshers who started somewhere, with their passion, but then with the fear in their mind, they continue doing the same thing for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year. They don't try to explore what they have learned, and they try to go beyond, what they have learned. Idea is to keep trying the new things every day, every time. You will fail, that's absolutely okay, but idea is to try, right? With the just that fear saying that, hey, I don't know, I have not done it, that's not going to help you grow, right? I was a desktop engineer. If I have never stepped out and say I want to learn server, or I want to learn network, or I want to learn SOC or IR, I would have never left my comfort zone, and I would have been doing I may be the best system administrator out there, or a network administrator out there, but idea is to expand your horizon of knowledge in anything that you get into, and then you will find your way eventually, right? And nothing is perfect, and nobody has a perfect definition of success eventually in the life. It's your perception about your own success that will define that where you want to go. Maybe yes, definition of success will be very much different than that of the Anugrah and that of the Avkash. So don't get into those definitions of the success. Try to be better yourself, and try to learn the new things when you start your career. These are the principles which will come long way, no matter in which field you will start, whether you start as a SOC engineer, SOC analyst, incident responder, forensic guy, a pen tester, a good red teamer, or even AI analyst nowadays. Idea is to start somewhere and keep expanding, but you should enjoy. That's the most important thing. Just because Avkash is really good into threat intel, that does not mean you need to start with threat intel. Are you really going to enjoy the threat intel? That's very important.
Rightly, sir, said about cybersecurity is a field where it doesn't require people who are ready to give up at a point. So if you have that stronger mindset of not giving up, standing again and again, trying things, this should be the field. Otherwise, you should go to other fields, try your hands. And when you start into cybersecurity, just don't focus on one thing. Try out different thing, and then see what works best for you. And I can remember my journey from there. I started with forensics, then a bit of pen testing, and then I thought, okay, I should write blogs. I was just writing for sake of writing, so that I could keep it as a notes. And then I realized, okay, technical writing and project management things are my stuff. I love doing those. So I try, shifted to those kind of. And now again, as we discussed earlier, before this discussion, I'm going for my masters to experiment things around it. So it's interesting. We should keep learning. And in our previous episode, we had Divakar. So he's currently experimenting at I am Bangalore. So this was again discussed that learning has no age, and we should keep learning every day. And with this, we talked about why freshers should focus on building their base, clearing networking. And I remember my incident from a talk where I was interacting with college students, and they were interested in getting into cybersecurity. So frequently I asked one question: do you know what is three-way handshake? It is very basic concept in networking. If they are very thoroughly known to networking, they would answer it. And hardly few people could answer what is three-way handshake. So I was like, okay, you should clear your basics, and then think about which side you want to get into, because networking is something where it is helpful whether we go into pen testing or non-pen testing side of it. So now the question is, we see lots of innovations coming up, and people, as we say, people are more focusing on learning tools rather than just sticking to the basis. So with automation coming in, and things around it are evolving every day, do you think there would be a space for manual side of it, where people write scripts, people are trying their hands day in day out, and then coming to a solution?
Absolutely. And I have been, I have seen this journey very close where, as a SOC analyst, we used to do everything manually on an Excel sheet, export the logs, GBs of data, and then go through those logs, and then coming the tools which help you correlate the logs. So with the technology, your life becomes easy, right? And the idea is to, offboard the mundane task that you are doing as a security guy to the technology, so you can do the smart work. See, technology, in my view, can never replace the human if you keep evolving you as a human and keep applying your brain to the things which machine has not reached yet, right? Idea is that you don't keep doing the things which machine can easily do, and that's what has happened in the historically, and that's what will happen with the coming of the AI, right? People say that, hey, it will take lot many jobs. Yes, it will take. If you are doing that mundane job, right, which anybody can do, which anybody can automate, their jobs will be gone, but there will be a lot many new jobs which will get created which AI still cannot do, or the world will need those many new brains to be applied. And with an advancement of an AI also, I keep telling that it's a human machine collaboration, human machine synergies, which will come long way. Still today, AI is not that trusted from a business implementation perspective. Yes, everybody wants it, everybody needs it, and there has to be investment on an AI side of the world, but it is a long way to come. And I think human machine partnership is going to witness the key thing. And as I said, yes, if AI can help me automate, do the basic incident analysis, why not, right? I will rather let AI do the mundane task where, hey, the incident got triggered, and now there are first five steps which are manual. I will go, hey, this source IP, tell me what this source IP logs look like in 5 days. This destination IP, what this destination IP belongs to. Is it some URL? Is it some domain? Is this domain bad? Is this domain good? There are five lookups that I do in five technology. Let AI do it, right? I don't want to do those manual tasks which I'm doing as an analyst. And then maybe do some basic analysis and present me a picture saying that, hey, I did some basic analysis and this is how the incident looked like, and the probability of this being a false positive or true positive is this. Now let human take over from there.
Yeah.
Yes, machine can do that part also end to end. We spoke about that. Hey, after that analysis, based on the guesswork, if the AI score is between 9 to 10 of the true positive, you go ahead and start doing incident response. I want to do that, right? And maybe, but in this journey, I want human to write those smart rules saying that, hey, once AI tell me that the score of this incident is 9 out of 10, and if that destination machine where something is going to happen is a desktop and not a server, maybe if it is a desktop, let AI do its job. I don't care. Might be it will worst case it will quarantine one laptop, and Yash will come back to me and, hey, my laptop is not working. That's fine. But I don't want my AI to go and quarantine my one of the server, which is my net banking
Yeah.
application host. Obviously, there'll be a business disaster if I do that. So while adopting this AI world and lot many automation, humans still need to play the role, that what, when, and how AI will take over, at what level the automations will take over. But still, a lot of decision making is required. Now, this is in the automation journey where still human will play the role, but there are things beyond just automations as well, where lot many creative brains needs to be applied in terms of threat analysis, right? Can you start investigating the threat, the behavioral aspect of the threat, saying that, hey, when I see this malware, this is a sandbox report of that malware. Okay, what are the tactics and the technique out of this malware behavior I can extract out? Hey, when I run into the sandbox, I saw that this was trying to do credential dumping from the memory using PowerShell. Just giving one example. Now, this behavior, maybe do more in-depth analysis of this behavior, that why somebody is, some malware is leveraging PowerShell to do the credential dumping, from the memory. What I need to be done strategically, what detection rules I should write in future, so that if similar behavior is observed across anywhere, it should be blocked, not just detected. But I know that in my organization, first of all, nobody uses PowerShell. If they are using it PowerShell, maybe I will. It should be a signed PowerShell binary if they are running. Even if they are running a PowerShell, nobody try to touch the memory, this process which is SVC host memory, which is very rarely accessible by any of the software that we have written in our organization. So if this kind of behavior is observed, maybe straight away block, or maybe write a detection rule around it. Now, this is more creative analysis and in-depth investigation, which AI will take lot many time to go to this level of analysis. So there are a lot many ways, a lot many things in my plate today as a human, which I can offload to AI, which I should definitely try to do. And there are new things which I should edit up into my plate, which are yet to be uncovered, yet to be disclosed. And that's why many role will come into the future where this kind of analysis and this kind of investigations will be required by human to be done, while basic L1 L2 tasks will get automated by the AI in the automation. And I'm taking example of the field which is very close to me, SOC IR, but this will apply to anything that you take in cybersecurity, on the pen testing side, on vulnerability assessment side, on bug bounty side also. Lot many automations will start happening. So yes, the machines will take over so many things, but I strongly feel that those mundane tasks will take over, and that's where we want people to elevate their knowledge and go beyond mundane tasks, go into the creative analysis and investigation aspect of the role that you are working upon, and not just do the same thing which you are doing in a repetitive mode in last few years.
Yeah, so I recently read a report saying like the AI security uh, field worth like $40 billion, and it's still growing, and like there is like lots of players coming in. So as you said, like it's as a basic terminology, like we say in AI, like AI is not going to replace you. The guy who is using AI is going to replace you. So uh, I'm like someone who interested in like LLM and LLM hacking, which was like recently. So I got into that, and I've been like following the OWASP top 10 for LLM and like being part of that organization and like working with them also. So what's your take on like such like chatbot and new uh, LLMs or like AI applications coming in and integrating with organization? And there's a like obviously there is a conflict coming in, like your data is given to an entity like which like we don't truly understand also. And it also like whenever we say like AI, then like there also like have like security issues. Like we have seen like many data breaches coming in, prompt injection when uh, like created like very like maliciously created payload or like prompt can like get the LLM or the AI to do stuff. So what's your take on it? Like, are we going to see like more of LLM such applications in future get integrated with almost all the industries or organizations?
No, very good point, Anugrah, that you brought. I see this thing, in the two parallel lane which should work. Uh, the first lane, AI for security. The second lane, security for AI. Both are important, both are
Yeah.
misunderstood, and I think there are ample business and growth opportunity in both the lanes equally. While today the first lane is super fast track, right? Everybody wants AI for security. AI for security. Hey, this model do this in security. This model will automate this. This model will automate this analysis, this actioning, right? That's very important. But also the parallel line that you brought up, the security of the AI is also very important. If AI is getting used into lot many critical human operations, day-to-day business operations, or day-to-day security itself, right? It becomes very critical for us to take a step back and see how secure this AI implementations are, and that security will come at multiple layers. A, at the source, and this applies to typical DevOps cycle that you take for any software, right? You want to secure the software at the core itself, the most left side of it, which is at the development level. When AI is getting developed, these LLM models are getting developed, the data which is being used to train this model, the sanitization of the model, the hallucination of these models. So that security needs to be baked in at the extreme left side of the development. At the same time, while you start operations around this model, when you start deploying this model, when you start developing applications around this models, you start writing the wrappers and start building the new applications as well. At that time, at operations level, that's a fundamental rule. And then obviously, as you said, some prompt injections, when it is in use, it's deployed for in production, right? If the end users are using it, what kind of security risk it has, right? Like you do typical VAPT of any application once it goes into the production or into the UAT, the same way AI based application also needs to be tested. So the whole life cycle of any AI applications, from development to deployment to operation, needs to be taken care holistically. And there are ample opportunities still in this space. I hardly see any companies or the people are talking about the security of the AI. And this is very crucial and very much foundation stage before we go into the other aspects, very before you start using AI for multiple things as well. Because if the foundation is weak, right, you're going into the big trouble when those AI applications will go into the production. So that's why there is business opportunities, I would say, for any good people trying to find the ideas around this, or from a career opportunity perspective also. The security of the AI is going to be the next big thing, because AI is not just being used within cybersecurity, but across, right, medical infrastructure, multiple places AI is going to play the role. So the security of it is going to be very important. And the second lane, when I say AI for security, is also equally important. We need to make sure that when AI is being used for multiple other things, can AI be used for cybersecurity itself? And I think last week I was reading some post by the person named Daniel Conroy. He's CTO of one of the large organization out there in US, and he put a beautiful post, onto the AI side, which I really like. And today, that's what is happening. Lot many companies are jumping the gun and saying that, hey, we have developed this AI model for this
Mm.
security, AI model for that security, which is good. It has to evolve. It has to evolve in this cycle, and the technology has to come in a good purpose for overall improving the security. But the biggest challenge out there is the basics. Basics are still missing. People still don't do their asset management very well. People still don't do their patch management very well.
Yeah.
So the technology still need to go in depth to make the basics clear, and that's where the human will still play the role in a long run, I believe. And before the AI take over, can we have AI really to fix our basics? If we are able to offload the basics fixing to good technology use cases, I think that's a huge win before we start doing any fancy thing. It does not mean we should stop ourselves for doing the fancy thing, but I think people should also think that how the technology can fix the basic where we struggle. Right, most of the time you hear
Yeah.
that, hey, this vulnerability exploited, this malware came in, they were able to exploit this vulnerability and get it. Why? Because that machine was not tracked in CMDB, or that machine was somehow not available in antivirus, or antivirus was installed but it was not getting up to date, since last 15 days, or that was a user laptop which nobody knew and he connected into the network. So many basic things today into the supply chain ecosystem leads to one small incident and then to a bigger incidents as well. So yeah, that's it. I feel the both the aspect need to be looked at, AI for security as well as security of AI holistically.
Great insight, great insight. As you said, like this ring me a bell. Like the Open AI, like the Chat GPT, like their first data breach was occurred due to a package in like Redis. So they had a like supply chain attack. So that's how it works. Like so, such a big company they suffered their first data breach because like they had that particular package was like to take over by some malicious group. And even if you look at other, if you look at like Facebook, their like first model, like some like their AI model or LM model was also got leaked because of it insider attack. So all these things can go wrong. Like we still need that like security around uh, the zero trust and all those kind of things we need. Uh, let's talk about like something a bit different from this. As we know, like there are like lots of resources to learn. There are like various fields to explore and learn. Uh, what do you feel like for someone like who is getting into the field or who been into the field? Do you think like there is like factor of getting overwhelmed by this and like somewhere you get burned out or like you feel you aren't doing much or like learning much? Are you like are you able to connect to such thoughts or like have you gone through such phases?
See, these are good things if you ask me, and people should go through this thing, right? And I would say this it's a simply FOMO. Sometimes
Yeah.
the people that we have, and FOMOs are good. FOMOs are, but if you take it more positively, if you know how to take the FOMOs more positively for yourself, and maybe yes, you have the fear of missing out the things, but it's okay to sometime miss out the things. The knowledge is not going anywhere. It's out
Yeah.
there on the internet. It's still there. It's going to be there after 10 years also. If you come, that books will be still there. Some blogs will be still there. You don't have a time, or maybe you have a time, but something else needs your more attention right now.
Mm.
And that's why I think if you need to overcome this dilemma of saying there are too many things to learn, where do I start, and I don't know this, I don't know that. It's okay. It's okay. Nobody is perfect. Nobody knows everything. Even after 13 years of experience in cybersecurity, I don't know a lot of things. I don't know many aspects of security till today, and that is absolutely fine. I think idea is that what is important for me today to learn was this, where the industry is going, where the trends are going, what are the more important things I should focus today. I think we all should know that what to prioritize, into the learning aspect, and the structured learning always help. Before I start learning the AI things, right, I should start with the basics, that how these models are work or how these models are developed, maybe the mathematics behind it also, if I'm too much interested in learning the AI side of it. So I'm saying go in a structured learning in anything that you want to do, and do it thoroughly, enjoy the process. And maybe I know the AI, but maybe right now I don't know about two good attacks that pen testers have developed, on that side of the world, and that's absolutely fine, because right now my focus is I want to get into the AI security side, or security of the AI side, and I'll focus on this aspect. So I would say that when you are starting your careers as well, I think uh, I draw this chart, saying that when you start your career, uh, try to be more generalist, right? When I say generalist, maybe try to capture knowledge of everything, explore the horizon, whatever you see. Hey, let me learn a little bit of a SOC side, incident response, the networks, the machine side of it, the PT side of it. At least try to be generalist, and as you grow into the journey, you will find something which is very interesting to you as well as to the world, both as to uh, right, both as to merge. Otherwise you like something but there is no demand for it in the market, right? Nobody is hiring for that role. That That is also not going to work. So you need to figure out something which is interesting to you, which is interesting to the market, and then you try to become a specialist of that thing, right? And your career graph will progress in more and more deep specialization. And in that, sometime your graph will go in other direction also. Hey, I'm not liking this, maybe let's go into this. But idea is that their career graph will go into some or other form of the specialization. But some age will hit, some experience will hit. After 10-15 years you'll say, okay, what now? Right? And that is where again time to be a more generalist. Right? You have gained experience in one aspect of security, the second aspect of security. It's time to be now again generalist, where you try to go beyond cyber security as well. Again, I'm telling you from my experience. It might be true for somebody, might not be true for somebody, but the idea is that with lot of experience also, you try to be more generalist now. You try to explore the things which are beyond cyber security. When I say beyond cyber security, the business side of it, maybe that how cyber security is perceived as a business. When you try to run your business, how security plays a crucial role, or how do you translate the security technical language to a business person, right? That is also more important, that you may be able to find the best
Yeah.
bug out there, the best malware analysis out there, but how do you explain that to a CISO, or how do you explain that to a CEO or a CIO in a layman language? That is also an art, and that's something you need to learn over the period. Or maybe a CFO, the finance guy, how do you tell that you need this budget to buy this technology, right? So that is also an art to explaining and convincing a finance person, saying that hey, you need $1 million or $2 million to buy this two technology, right? So how do you prove the ROI to that person? So my definition of generalist is that you have gained the knowledge, but how do you start applying and start making it so generic so that anybody can understand that why this is required, and maybe go beyond. Maybe you become a CEO yourself, right? You start your product company, services company. Then you are no more just a cybersecurity guy. You are a salesperson, you are a marketing person, you are a project manager. You are everything that is required to run your company, to run the show eventually. So the more generalist experience that you have will eventually help. So this is the journey. Sometimes it works like this, sometimes it works like this, but I would say that keep learning is the ultimate motto. As you said, having the learning FOMO, having so many things at the stake is good, but again, as the career progress, you need to switch the gear. You can't be running in the same gear throughout your career, and
Yeah.
that's why it's very important that how many things you learn at the start of the career versus how and where you go deep, and again when you want to expand the horizon, where you start looking for the knowledge.
Yeah, rightly said, sir. And with that, I was about to jump onto a question where, for a person starting, there is this two aspects, whether we should get into product based companies or service based companies, and we have this confusion very very much. So what is your suggestion for the people? And second, you have been training people, entrepreneurs. So for someone in their initial career, let's say 2 3 years into the industry, and now they think it's been fascinating, people loves putting that co-founder founder kind of tagline with their names. So for them, is it good to start in their initial days, or they should have an experience industry for, let's say, 5 years, and then jump into venturing into a new product or new services, or overall an entrepreneurship journey?
So I'll answer the first, the product versus service. Right? I would say nobody has found the perfect answer, and no answer is perfect,
Yeah.
if you ask me. Both journeys are important. Both journeys has its own pros and cons, and I have been through both the journeys. I have been through the services company. I have been to the other side of the table, being on the customer side of the table, working for the banks and the telcos as well. And then I've been into the product side of the world as well. Each give you the different perspective and the different knowledge, right? For example, in the services side, you get to learn the, let's say, one aspect of security very well. Let's say if you are a penetration tester for a services company, or if you are a SOC analyst for a services company, your job role is very well defined, that you will do SOC, right? What is the advantage there? Advantage is exposure to multiple companies, right? So you are applying the same knowledge, which is a SOC knowledge or a pen testing knowledge, but to multiple companies. There are 5 banks, 2 telcos, 2 medical, hospital industry companies. So your experience of the same penetration testing gets a different exposure, but the way you do penetration testing in a hospital versus a bank versus a telco will be different. So idea is that you get to experience the multiple cultures of security. So that's an advantage of service based company, right? When you go to the product company, again you get to work on the multiple types of the customer, right? But then again, disadvantage will be you will be typecast to one specific product. For example, you are a SIEM, or you are a antivirus company. Your specialization is an antivirus now, right? Again, but the antivirus, when you deploy in a bank and in a hospital, that experience will give you a different exposure to a culture. But the biggest thing that you will get is how the things are built from the scratch, and how the build life cycle look like. When you ideate the product, the product comes to the paper, comes to the coding and hits the floor, and when it get deployed to a customer, how many challenges that you will hit. So the product life cycle experience you will not get anywhere else. That how to build the product, deploy the product, sustain the product, and also make the money out of that product, right? That is very most important aspect. So that building experience will be something that product organizations will give you. And I think the third aspect which I said is more client side also. That is also important. When you sit on that side of the table, when you are into the making side, either buying the product or buying the services, and deploying it for the security of your organization, that's a different perspective. Maybe you are working in the one organization, but now you have multiple stakeholders to negotiate and to learn. For example, when you want to buy the product, you will go to your CSO to explain that, hey, why you need antivirus, or why you need this penetration testing tool. Maybe you convince your CSO, you go to the finance, why you need a money for that, right? And then once you convince your finance guy, there is also a logistic chain which you need to understand. Hey, needs to sign the agreement, or maybe evaluate the vendors out there, some RFP process. You finalize one vendor is finalized, I need to onboard, I need to sign the agreement with that vendor, I need to give them the PO, I need to invoice them, I need to onboard the vendor, I need to answer the audit, how the services are working, how effective those are, and timely also report to my board saying that, hey, in last 1 year I bought these 2 services, I deployed these 2 applications, I'm running these 2 program. How the security of the organization has improved, right? How safe is the bank, how safe is my organization today. So you are getting exposure to multiple part of it beyond cyber security, right? Beyond cyber security, you will end up doing many things which will help you eventually. Let's say if you decide to be a founder or start your own company, you are going to have a similar set of experience of the stakeholders. You will need an exposure to build the product as well, and also different client services as well. So when you go into your entrepreneurial journey, all the three types of experience comes in handy. Now the second question that you asked, that when do you start, I would say the day to start the thing is today, right? If you are really enthused to start something, to start your entrepreneurial journey, right? It's today. But everything followed by your passion. Again, as I said, when you start your career, as a fresher, which side you want to go, be in a defensive side, offensive side, against more passion driven decision. And as you when you start your entrepreneurship journey, it should be a passion driven journey. Just because the titles are fancy, you don't jump to it, right? Maybe you'll burn your hand today, down the line tomorrow. Be passionate, right? Whether you become a successful entrepreneur or a failed entrepreneur, idea is to be an entrepreneur and to enjoy the journey, right? It's not guaranteed that when your first entrepreneurship will be 100% successful. Sometime it will be successful, sometime it not be. People start one company, fail, second company fails, third company fail, fourth company may be successful. But as far as you are passionate about the entrepreneurial journey, you will make it your way. And that passion can be your day one as a fresher, just out of the college. I have seen people starting a successful company, right? Maybe 5 years of experience, maybe at the retirement also. I've seen cybersecurity is done. I'm 20-year into cybersecurity. I want to start my own startup. That's also absolutely fine. So there is no defined time period, I would say. You should feel confident. You should feel passionate about the things, right? And I would say be open to the hurdles that you will feel. Right, just because you know cybersecurity very well, you know one side of it very well, does not mean that the whole company works that way. As I said, when you run the company, it's beyond just cybersecurity, beyond just building the product as well. You need to play HR role, finance role, marketing role, sales role, multiple heads you will end up wearing in that journey, right? If you are open to go and learn beyond just technical aspect of cybersecurity, jump into it. Then you can't tell me that, hey, I have developed the best cybersecurity tool on the planet, but I don't know how to sell it. Right? Maybe you have developed the best tool, but if you don't know how to sell, how to market, how to make the money out of it, that is waste. I have seen many times people out of their passion build the best product out there, but they don't know how to sell, right? Or there are some smart salesperson, but they don't know how to build. So I'm saying all the things has its own value into the whole ecosystem when you start in your entrepreneur journey. And many time I meet the founders who are best of breed. They have done the best product, but they don't know how to sell, right? They don't know how to market, how to expand. Or maybe you can take your company from stage A to stage B, where you have so many generalists with you, and you are able to make it from 0 customer to 10 customer or 20 customer. But then also have the journey from 20 to 200. The journey will be completely different. The way you have run your startup from 0 customer to 20 customer was still, I would say, easy. But when you make it from 20 to 200 customer, that's an exponential journey. You need to scale. You need to scale your sales operations, your marketing operations, your product operations, your deployment. Multiple operations need to scale, and the way you have run your company from 0 to 20 has to transform from 20 to 200. So that journey is also different. You need to have your head into that space. When company will go from 20 to 200 customer, how I'm going to enjoy that journey, that sales operations, that marketing, that product building, that innovation still need to kick in into the product. So every aspect of needs to be taken care. So again, the fundamental, I would say, is that you should enjoy and you should passionate about the learning the things, about doing the things, either into the enterprise side, service side, product side, customer side, any of the side.
Yeah, so second question I could think about, say in Gujarati it is called, when you are an entrepreneur, you should be MBA, મને બધું આવડે છે. Should know everything around it. So yeah, that
Yeah,
was
that is true, right? And I would say, rather than I know everything, I think the most important aspect is I will do the things and I will get to do everything eventually. Maybe I don't know everything today, but I will get to learn everything in this process. I think that mindset is very important. That I will end up doing sales, I'm okay to do marketing, I'm okay to do operations, project management. That mindset is very important, that I will put myself into the shoes which are just beyond technical product development or my cyber security. As far as you have that mindset, you will make your way.
Oh, great. Just one last question. What's one message you would give to your younger self who is looking at cybersecurity or who is starting out?
uh, to my younger self,
Yeah.
I think I'm always hungry for more and more learning. And I would have given myself that, hey, if I was reading one book or two book, why not four book, or uh, 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 so there are two horizons which I keep telling. One is the knowledge, horizon, which one need to explain, one need to expand. The other thing which I realized very late in my career, and that advice I keep giving is your networking horizon. I think people, this is most underrated skill today. and freshers and myself, I was not like that. Is learn the skill of networking. When I say networking, I'm not talking about computer networking. I'm talking about the human networking. Okay, meeting the new people, getting to know each other, their journey, talk to them, hear them, so that's the social networking skill I'm talking about. That's the most underrated skill today, and I feel I would have known that skill much earlier in my career, in my younger days. Would be helpful. So if you are just starting, try to find a way, try to find an everyday an excuse where you can meet to 10 new people. Go to conferences, go to the community meetups. There are so many
Yeah.
open communities like null, ovasp, multiple around you. So go try to meet as many as people, try to enjoy the conversation. So many passive learning you will have, from those will come very long way. So expanding your knowledge horizons on your own is one thing, but expanding the networking horizon and to capture the knowledge or passive knowledge from somebody else's experience is also very, very, very important. I would tell everybody.
So I think before we wind up, we ask this question to speakers. Uh, eh, Cybersecurity is challenging. Everyone accepts that. With that challenges comes lots of mental health issues that we often don't want to express it openly, or don't want to speak up about it. So what is your suggestion to people who are facing at some point of their career, or maybe uh, we discuss about FOMO or everything.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
what is your suggestion to the people to speak more about their mental health issues openly, so that I have this concept or aim that we should speak about mental health issues as we speak about when we have other issues like fever or headache or something.
No, no, absolutely. Not just in cyber, but all along as well. I think this is one topic which needs to be talked, very loudly. And I think we need to create an ecosystem, also very safe ecosystem, so that somebody can come out and talk easily also about this thing. This is absolutely normal. We need to make this normal as well, so people can freely talk about it. And as I said, when you have the good friends out there, a good shoulder out there where you can cry out freely your emotions freely, right? The the things become easy, right? We have been through our school life, and that's what we have learned. Maybe you have lot many emotions, but when those emotions gets burst somewhere, you outpour those emotions somewhere, you feel relieved, right? And that's why I think we need this as a community out there, where if somebody is really under pressure, under FOMO, they should have an easy and a safe environment for talking out the things. And that's why I think community in cybersecurity plays a huge role. And I think community, more and more such community should flourish, I believe. And as I said, maybe when you are a fresher or with an experience also, try to be in touch with these communities. I think eventually, this helps a lot in many other aspect, not just from the knowledge perspective, but talking out to the peoples as well. Hey, I'm feeling this, and it's absolutely okay or not okay. I think you will always make a good friends, out of those communities. So I think the good ecosystem is very much important. So whenever you feel such thing, I would say go out, talk to the people wherever you feel safe. And as a on other side as well, when you are not feeling that, still go out and talk to the people. You never know who is under pressure, right now. Try to reach out to the people, and try to talk to as many people as possible, uh, because there are so many FOMOs out there and so many things to learn, and you never know who is feeling what and when.
Yeah, so this was all from Hacker Harbor podcast, Cybersecurity Beyond Pen Testing, episode 4. Thank you for watching and joining in for today's episode. Thank you so much, sir, for your time and invaluable insights from all those experiences, how you correlated, ancient times to how cybersecurity is evolving, and then discussing about importance of AI to entrepreneurship to product and service based companies, and winding up with an suggestion with mental health. Uh, that's all from our end. Thank you all, and see you in the next episode of Cybersecurity Beyond Pen Testing.
Thank you so much, Yash and Anugrah. You have been fantastic host. I must say, hosting is also an art, and asking the right question leads to the right knowledge as well. And I'm glad that I was able to share the so much, of my experience with you and your audience. Thank you for hosting me here.